It's now my pleasure to introduce John Kemp. I got to know John through my membership on the Access Board of Directors. John served as the CEO of Access and as the Executive Director and General Counsel of the United States Business Leadership Network while he was a partner at the Washington, D.C. based law firm of Powers, Piles, Sutter, and Verveer. He recently became the CEO of Abilities, an organization in Long Island, New York, which serves people with disabilities. John has successfully led a number of well-known nonprofit organizations, including positions as National Executive Director of the United Cerebral Palsy Associations and General Counsel and Vice President of the National Easter Seal Society. John has written several important articles on disability policy and trends, and he serves on the U.S. Department of State's Advisory Committee on Persons with Disabilities and on the Board of Directors of ICD and Goodwill Industries of Greater Washington. He holds a degree from Georgetown University and a JD from Washburn University School of Law. Please give a warm Wisconsin welcome to John Kemp.
Good morning, Wisconsin. Well, my team didn't make it through the 64, 65 NCAA teams that were in there. My Hoyas fell first, and I started cheering for Wisconsin, and I know you didn't make it, but what a great season your team had. Really, really great. And I want to say, excuse me, thank you to Thomas Cook and to Marie Mace for inviting me here. I sincerely appreciate the invitation. I appreciate Rehab for Wisconsin's membership in Access very much. And so all of you, I appreciate your support for Access and what we were trying to do while I was there. And now I can say I have joined the ranks of the direct service providers, the community rehab organizations. I am now President CEO of Abilities, exclamation point. We have a branding issue in that we have the exclamation point, and then we have Abilities Incorporated, then we have Abilities USA, all part of a family of corporations. It's a mess, and we don't even know who we are inside our house. Does this sound familiar to anybody else? Now we start talking to the public out there, like, who are you? Henry Viscardi School? I don't know. But we are very proud to join Access as a member, and I look forward to continuing our work there. To see Beverly Stafford here, and to say thanks for everything she's done while at the Department of Education and at the National Rehab Association, that's very important. My friend Charlene Dwyer, gosh, Wisconsin is so lucky to have you, and especially to have you stay over and be hired again. Just a real compliment. And my friend Mark Williams with the Chicago Land Business Leadership Network and Disability Works. You're going to hear more from him. But thank you, Mark, for picking me up. We had like this incredible synergistic. He and Jonathan Wheat drove up from Chicago. As I was landing at the airport, I don't think my wheels ever really stopped rolling on my scooter. I went from the airplane to get the bags to the car. On the way up here, nothing stopped. The wheels kept on rolling, and we just kept on coming up here. So thank you for the rides up and back, and I'm really glad to be here. We are in an incredibly challenging and difficult time. If you thought it couldn't get any worse, we just turn around and we start talking about block granting Medicaid, and it's like, oh my God, what next are we going to think of, And I guess every movement needs an enemy to hate, so to speak. I don't like to use the hate word, but sometimes we need to be able to get ourselves gathered up and pulling together and finding who our allies are, to be proud of who we are, to be proud of the services we deliver, to not apologize in any way for the kinds of expenses that we have. Yes, there might be a few organizations that overpay and give us all black eyes, so to speak. But those should be regulated and monitored and exposed for what they're doing. But we really are here for the mission of getting people with disabilities fully included in the communities that we serve. And while there are people with disabilities who may never be able, because of the severity of their disabilities or the fragility of their disabilities, to be able to live and work independently in the community. They will need us, and we will need them to hopefully deliver on our commitment to them, our mission. So I'm done apologizing to the community at large and to anybody for what we do. We do lots of great things for a lot of people. Daniel Pink wrote a book recently called A Whole New Mind, Why Right-Brainers Will Rule the Future. Some people have read it. Thomas has. Three forces are driving us from the information age to the conceptual age, or we might say, as Nicole Langley from Manpower might say, the human age, that she'll talk about in a little while. What are those forces? Abundance. Even though we've had to cut back drastically and we had to reposition ourselves, even our view of our own life, our quality of life in the United States, we were pretty arrogant. We were pretty full of ourselves. And we're still getting our comeuppance, just a tad, as we travel around the world or look around the world and see the emerging markets of China and India. And we're having a little bit of humble pie. We still live an abundant life in the United States, a very wonderful life. And when I travel around the world, and I get to go somewhere probably once a year, I come back, get off my scooter, and kiss the first ramp as I see it, because I've been riding around on cobblestones and looking for those cuts that where bicyclists might go in Europe or elsewhere. Went to China last fall. Dear God, we have a good life here. But as Alan Bergman and other advocates would say, we are never satisfied with the status quo. And we should never be satisfied with the status quo. So abundance, even as we reframe that, is one. Asia and the emerging markets, certainly important to us. Now we see the tragedy in Japan, horrible tragedy, and the ripple effect that that's having on economies around the world. And then automation. Japan creates robots out of desperate need for human supports and services. They have robots that will scrub and clean folks with quadriplegia, give them baths. They are all out of folks because they have had too tight of an immigration policy that has not allowed a lot of people to immigrate to their country. And now they're suffering because they're one of the oldest countries in the world. And how are they going to deal with that besides the tragedies? So we have automation, but automation as much a part of our lives as anything in the world.